I am about to start the recording, and the recording is started. So, good evening to you, and good morning, or just hi, depending on the time that you will be accessing this recording. This is meant to be a lightweight session, just a quick session. Let me begin by saying congratulations to all of you because you did extremely well for task one. And I'm really proud of the entire class. That is actually the sign that you guys have been paying attention, and that's amazing. That's really amazing. I think I have the best class in the world at the moment. So well done to all of you. And actually, a lightweight session because you deserve uh, a very good break, Easter break. And so I'm sure that, wherever you are, that would be starting, I think, at the end of this session, right? Because tomorrow is Friday. Right. So, yeah. So what we're going to do, if you would give me just a minute. So greetings again to all of you because I see Saskia is here, Tammy, and let me just acknowledge you, Auntie and Kandekile. Well done. There was no one actually felt task one. So none of you should be apprehensive or a bit scared. You all did extremely well, you know. I think the majority of you did, have distinctions. So you did quite well. I'm not going to dwell very much on task one because, like I said, I don't want you to lose perspective that task two is coming, right? And not only task two is coming, but task two will weigh slightly more than task one, right? So yeah, foundational, like we said, we are laying the foundation and then we're going to build on that foundation. But we just want to make sure that the foundation that we've laid is a good foundation. And one thing I noticed is that, obviously all of you did well, but I think the practice has been paying off. For example, question one and question two, depending on whether you were writing for entrepreneurship, you're doing the BCom entrepreneurship, or you are doing hospitality. What I noticed is that even for the multiple choice questions, you guys did extremely well. But that also is because some of the practice we've been doing in class were geared towards you being able to do very well. Those questions can be quite tricky, and this is the first time, you know, overwhelmingly, most of you did extremely well on that. You see, that's good. That's really good. But you see, one thing I would not want you to do is now relax and say, everything is easy now. And no, that would not be the correct attitude, right? So I'm going to share my screen and I will tell you what we're going to do because I would still want, because remember, you had plenty of time and to complete the task, right? To all of you who did it under 2 hours or under 3 hours, well done, because you are already practicing for the exam, right? Remember that in the exam, you would have a maximum a 3 hour exam, right? So what I did, because there were two tests and those two tasks are very similar, depending on if you were doing the entrepreneurship one or you were doing the hospitality one. Guess what I've done? I've shared with all of you both tests. And what I would like you to do, they're slightly different, is to, during your spare time, when you're relaxing, make sure that first of all, you take a good break. But what you can do when you have time is just to go through the other tests, right? So if you were doing, you did the entrepreneurship one, just have a look at the hospitality one. It will be slightly different, and so that actually what happened on the other side. I saw that the hospitality one had more theory, which was quite interesting, right? But this is the hospitality one. And you know what? As I'm true to myself, I always would provide you with the full feedback in this section, in the test prep one. I always provide you with the full feedback so that you can go through it. And what I would like you to do is actually to ask questions. If there's something, first of all, you did extremely well. So few questions you would have missed maybe a mark or two here and there. So what I would like you to do is maybe to check your answers, see where you can improve, but do the other test. So if you did the one for hospitality, do the one for entrepreneurship. Say, okay, you know what? Let me check what entrepreneurship got as questions. As you can see, it was similar but not the same. So similar but not the same, right? But I provide you with the full feedback so that you can see question one, question two, question three, how you ought to have answered it. It is the full feedback, right? Full feedback. I show you how I was marking, how I was checking. So you know the drill. You know the drill, right? So instead of me going through the entire test with you, which for some of you would be very boring, right? I would like you to actually, this is going to be good practice for your exam, is to do it by yourself, to check both tests, to see where you could improve. And if you have any question, to ask the question in class, to submit the question on our social so that we can wrestle with the question, right? Especially if there is a particular concept. I think it's only maybe one student who did not manage to complete one question, and that's it. The rest of you completed all the questions, and that's amazing. That's a very good thing. So I'm very glad. So, guys, again, hear me on this. I'm excited because I'm saying this is good. You are at a good place and you're not scared. I don't want you to be scared of the module, and I don't feel it. Obviously, I went through the marking. I couldn't feel what you were feeling. I didn't see. Obviously, I wrestle with numbers and some of the things that you wrote. I didn't see any fear. I saw a class that was doing what they're supposed to do, right? But let's now build momentum for test two, and let's do extremely well in test two. If you can get also the highest distinction in test two. By the way, so the marking is done. It still needs to go through moderation. You know the drill. It has to go through moderation, and the result department will release it after moderation, right? So that has nothing to do with me. That is, there is a full department that deals with that, right? So stay put. You will have your marks, your feedback, and all that. But in the meantime, don't waste time. Don't be the kind of person who just stick around and say, I just want to see my marks for test one. And then test two is already there at the door, knocking. And then you go through test two and you don't do well. So it didn't help you, right? So already build momentum for test two. Make sure that learning unit 3 and learning unit 4, you master it and you make sure that you're not going to lose marks. See what you were doing. Some of the things that I always raise in class, like someone who's writing 2 pages for a 10-mark question, right? 2 pages, come on, right? And then the same person writes a 1 page for a 20-mark question. So these are strategies that I want to start inculcating inside of you, so that when you go to write your exam, you don't waste marks because you don't have the correct strategy to write your exam paper. All right. So I trust that this is clear. My job is to prepare you for that final exam. So I see more the broad picture. So sometimes you would think, why am I insisting on this? Is because I want you to get the skills necessary so that when you go to sit for the exam, you don't fail because you are too scared or you are too apprehensive. You know what I'm saying? And so you don't know what to write. I've seen many students failing an exam because they were scared. So fear, which should not have been there, because if you prepared yourself well and you know the correct strategies to approach, right? For example, just skimming a paper and seeing which question has the most marks. You have a 15-year, this is the one for entrepreneurship, right? You have a 15-year, 20-year, 20. So you can see already that these two questions here, it's 20 marks. So they're quite important. You see, so I would do that. Why would I do that? 30 marks for question one, right? But it's mostly, what is it mostly? It's multiple choice. Multiple choice questions, and then you have 1, 2, which is 12 marks. So 18 year and 12 year. You see, so you would see that. You would see, okay, question one is quite important. So let me make sure, and if it's easy, let me make sure that I get everything right here. I get it out of the way, right? A quick skimming of entrepreneurship. I could see the first question is 10 mark, second is 5, and then 35, right? So, wow, this is a big deal, right? So I'll spend quite some, I would say if, for example, I have an hour, or no, 100 minutes. What is 100 minutes? It's like an hour and 40 minutes, right? An hour and 40 minutes. So I'll make sure that 35 minutes was spent to cover this question. If you understand what I mean by that, right? So I'll make sure that in my timing, so I pace myself. I say, right, can't spend more than 35 minutes on this question. When you do that, you're making sure that you have looked at the time, how many hours have been attributed to the test, right? And you look at the marks. So quickly you can do a quick calculation of how many minutes do I need to spend on this, right? So if I am actually writing the test, the physical test. Okay, so this is a strategy. So I hope you get the gist of it. All right, so that is, that's your gift there for this weekend. Please, if you can go through that. And like I said, it's a lightweight. I don't intend to spend 30 minutes, but let me first hear from you. The first quarter of this evening session is here. I want to hear from you. How was your test? Or is there anything that you would like to ask, any questions on this? Always make sure that I give you also the opportunity to ask questions in class. So please feel free. If you have a question, the platform is open. Ask a question, whether you're gonna write the question, whether you're gonna, unmute yourself and just have a chat and say, okay, this is what I see, or this is the question that I have, but you should be good to go, right? Okay, so there is no question. Yeah, no, absolutely. I like that, Saskia. It's about confidence. And I will tell you that I remember even my time at varsity, and even now still, because I'm still studying. I mean, if you're working for an academic department, definitely you have to keep on studying all the time. What I found is it's the same thing. Majority of things, when it comes to test and all that, they're very mental. But in this case, you can see that we are preparing you for the final test. Still, for me, not the best format. the best format for me would have been for you guys to go right on a physical campus and to write this test for about an hour and a half or 2 hours. That would have been the ideal for me, right? Because you know why? It does prepare you for the final exam better. But I do also understand logistically, it's not really the best. You know, you online student, and we understand that. So the best format we can provide at this point in time is the time limited task. You know, but I want you when you are doing the time limited task, right, to push yourself because always have the final goal in mind. The final goal is not to do well in task one and task two only. The final goal is to do well for all the assessment, especially for your last assessment, for your final written exam on campus, right? So always keep that in mind to say, okay, yeah, I did well um, in task one. Let that not give you a big head, right? You say, no, I did well. That means to me, I love when you're doing well in task one to say that you understand learning unit one and learning unit two. So there's some foundation that have come in, right? But don't sit comfortably. Keep on building a strong foundation, right? Think what we did last week. If you remember what we did last week, especially when we covered the schedule of collection and the schedule of payment. Any one of you remember what we did last week for learning in unit three? And by the way, you have a question in front of you. So I want you to spend, yeah, yeah, no. So remember, Auntie, I wouldn't even, for task one, I would be able to complete task one in maybe in 2 hours, but still remember some of you had also to do proper referencing and all that. So it's definitely don't feel bad if you took 4 hours. It's not wrong because there is that aspect that we also want to bring with regards to proper referencing, right? Which is very important academically. So don't beat yourself down. Don't beat yourself down. I say when you look at the paper, when you look at the entire paper, it was easy enough for you to say, no, this I can complete in 2 hours, but I will still need time to do my proper referencing. So it might take me a little bit longer, but that's the only, how can I say, that's the nature of the assessment. The nature of the assessment is not to just say, student must complete this in 2 hours. No, we want also, okay, student must complete this in 2 hours, but in terms of, because remember when you are writing your final exam, again, let's sit down a little bit. You're writing your final exam, you're not going to need to reference. That will be out of the way. You see, so you're not going to have that additional task of referencing in the exam. You know that. Are we all clear? Right? Does that make sense? You're not going to be required when you are writing your exam to be referencing. None of you should be referencing. You just write your exam, that's it. Because we more look at how you understand and how you also look at the question, how many marks is being required, and you know that by writing, you need to cover all the marks. So there's no need for you to be referencing, but you would understand that if you are writing um, at home, right? You are writing an assessment at home. We want to add that extra bonus task for you so that we know that you also understand that you are required to do proper referencing when you are writing academically. Because remember, we are building your academic writing. Um, I trust that that's clear, right? All right, so let's move on. I don't want to dwell too much on task. Like I said, I wanna look at the future because I know it can be quite exciting to talk about task one, and that's the reason why I say for everyone who would like again to go through it, you can go through your own test and see because you did well, because you did so well, you just need to see where the few errors you've made. That's all, right? But I would like you to, your homework is to take on the other test. That's the other group. Remember, you are two groups in one class, and you're not writing the exact same test. You are writing similar test, but not the exam test. All right. So everything is clear. Now, I want you just to be ready. We have about 10 minutes because I want this to be actually in preparation for next week, because next week we are starting with managerial accounting. Very, very important last foundational block for you guys. So some of you have already started, and very proud of you guys. Keep keep up the great work. Next week we can start full force because your test 2 is already around the corner. By the way, when are you hospitality guys writing test 2? Do you know? One group is going to write before the other. I'm just trying to see if you guys are aware and you know exactly how you're preparing, right? You need to be strategic. On the 14th. All right. Wonderful, Saskia. So 14th, anybody can confirm hospitality, anybody? So with regards to entrepreneurship, when are you writing your task 2? On the 29th. So can you see that you have about 2 weeks? Do you see why I'm saying we need to focus on test 2? Do you see why I'm saying that? You have from here, you have 12 days. We are the second. You have 12 days. You have a week and few and about are you seeing, guys, why I'm saying this? So focus on already to your test 2. Don't waste too much time, right? Preparation. So entrepreneurship, it might look like you have a little bit more time, but I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't say so because it means that your test would also be more difficult than the hospitality test. Just because they gave you 2 more weeks is because they know that yours will be slightly more difficult. All right. So let's keep perspective. It's not for you to panic, right? But I'm saying in everything that you are doing, be strategic, and you will see that you will be relaxed because you know exactly. But if you are the kind of student who don't even know when you are writing the second test, that's for me is a problem because you are not preparing yourself for an end goal, right? You're just taking it as it comes, and that's not the way, right? Especially with finance, remember it's finance. We want to be more precise in the numbers that we are providing, right? Companies depend on us. We can't play, with money, with the livelihood of people, right? We have to be strategic. We have to be competent. It's a skill. All right. So I like the fact that I made an accent on the correct things. All right, guys. Can somebody answer for me? I hope all of you are ready. Please, can you read this question? We are talking about overtrading. I just want to test your understanding of learning unit 3. We are already looking toward task 2. Are you ready to answer this? So profitable businesses go bankrupt every day. Why? Because profit is an accounting opinion, but cash is a reality. Overtrading occurs when a business grows sales too fast on credit, running out of actual cash to pay suppliers. Right. So quick, look at this table. Just want you to be able to look at the table. Do you see what is happening there? Credit sales and cash received. Do you see that? Do you see those 3 months? And I know this class is up to the task, right? Can you answer this question? You look at the table below. If a company makes 100K in credit sales in January, but collect 60% in February, 25% in March, and 10% in April, 5% bad debt. You understand bad debt. We're going to write that off. How much cash do they actually receive in January? You go. So just give me your answer. If you take too long, I won't take your answer for it, right? You have about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's it. So I'm not accepting any more answers, but some of you said C. And look again at the question. If a company makes 100K in credit sales in January, and the question that is being asked of you is how much cash do they actually receive in January? So most of you say that it's a C, it's a 0. And you're correct, right? Because they're not receiving anything. So this is good. This is good, class. You understand the schedule. You get it, right? That was not cash on hand, right? And well done. Well done to all of you who said C. All of you did well, but some of you did not answer anything, right? So I'm noting that. Guys, you should be done with learning unit 3. So if you're struggling with learning unit 3 at this stage, that's not good. You're not preparing yourself seriously. All right? So while the income statement shows 100K, and indeed, on the, in the income statement, you will see that in or on. So on the income statement, right, you will see 100K profit in January. But the actual money, right, because that is on credit, the actual money in the bank would be 0 because there's nothing. Okay, cool. All right, the next question. Just prepare yourself, be ready, because I see in the last one, half of you did not answer, right? So just be ready again, right? So the true cost of capital, APR, right? We talked about that last week. To survive the cash trap, you secure a business loan. The bank quotes a nominal interest rate. We spoke about that of 15% per year. However, they charge 2,220 Rand initiation fee and 68 monthly service fees, right? So sift through the noise, already on this. Why must a financial manager calculate the annual percentage rate, APR, instead of relying on the nominal rate? What is your answer? APR ignore inflation, making the loan look cheaper. APR includes all hidden fees and compounding effect, revealing the true cost of money. APR is only used for equity, not debt. How many people? 1, 2, 3, 4. One person is missing there. Kandekile, what is your answer? All right. Yeah. All right. So, all right. Is it B? Indeed, it is. Because we spoke about that last week. The nominal rate is marketing tool, right? Because they can get you to sign, especially you studying financial management. Don't fall into that. They will quote you something, you always need to ensure that you understand that that's a nominal rate, but I need to find the effective rate, right? All right, right. So that's good. I just want to take two more questions and then I can send you on your way to enjoying your holiday, right? But the reason why I chose to give you already or to see already who has started with learning unit 4 or to start already thinking about learning unit 4 at this stage. Because remember, your test is coming soon, your T2, right? So no, take your time. So if I'm sure that, by the response, some of you have started with learning unit 4, but if you've not started, it does not matter. I want you just to read and to understand the question. That's all, because you can get it right, even though you have not completed learning unit 4. So we have this company, let's Sema Furnishers. It is there in your textbook, and we've started covering. Anybody who's covered learning unit 4 knows about this company because it's there in your textbook, right? And what they're doing is that they launching this product. Just follow the logic, right? You just need to classify costs to understand profitability. So learning unit 4, half of it would just be about how you classifying cost. That's all. And it does make sense because they are costs that are variable and they are costs that are fixed. It makes sense, right? Variable cost, fixed cost, right? Makes sense, right? Fixed doesn't change, variable changes. You get it, right? So based on cost behavior, what happens to the factory rent if Letsema produces 0 units in December? So I just want the entire class to look carefully. Oh, okay, there are answers there. Okay. All right. All right. All right. I like that. So it's true. It's true. That's amazing. So you understand that the fixed cost will be there no matter whether you're producing it or not, or you're producing something or not, the fixed cost will be there. That will be things like your rent, when you are paying your cell phone contract, they are things, they are costs that are there and they are fixed, especially those you took a contract to cover a certain period. That will cover maybe factory rent, telephone for the company, or internet cost. You would have a particular contract that is covered across a certain period, right? Those, and that's the reason why when you start a business, you must be aware of fixed cost. You must be aware because it can be a killer for your company, right? All right. So another one. But I'm very impressed, guys. I'm really very impressed. That's really good to see. Right. So let's move to this. So, and I'm sure that the person who's going to answer this right is a person who's already gone ahead and they have already started with learning unit 4, right? So there is this break-even horizon. And I want to show you, just in case you didn't touch it, just in case, this one is the total revenue. It's very easy to understand. We just spoke about the fixed cost. This line here, this red line here is the fixed cost. Can I represent it like this? Do you see that? This line here is the fixed cost. And we just said you incur that cost whether you're producing or not. It is always there, right? And this is the sort of variable cost. So when you have covered your fixed cost, whatever you're starting to make above that is profit that you are starting to make. Do you see that? And again, we will cover that next week in more details when we're starting our journey for Learning Unit 4. But we need to be quick because by next week, we should be done with a majority of Learning Unit 4. And this would be your total revenue. You see them. So meaning that your total revenue is this fixed cost plus the variable cost, which gives you the total revenue. Total revenue, you have fixed costs the cost that you are making. The cost that you are incurring and the revenue that you are making. And this is where the break-even point is. That's quite interesting. I just want to find out if students already understand this concept. So how do I remove that? All right, so let's go to the question now. The contribution margin is price minus variable cost. Yes, because remember, you are trying to cover that initial cost for your company. That is always there. What is that initial cost? Is the fixed cost. So when you take the price minus the variable cost per unit, see what you're remaining with. So what does this 1,387 actually do? It represents the net profit per unit. It contributes to paying off the 20,000 fixed costs first. Once fixed cost is paid, it contributes to profit. And the last thing would be, it is the cost of direct labor and material. What is your answer? All right, guys. I'll take it that we are going in the right direction, right? So no need to panic. You guys are on track. You are following the journey. I like that. I like what you guys are doing. And I think that's the correct attitude. I say, keep up with the work that you're doing, the bit of work that you need to do every week. And you will make it very manageable. And basically, that's the point somehow of this exercise we've done is that do your bit, just your little bit, don't postpone and all that and make it difficult for you. But any questions, guys, before we close off this session? Right, so what I'm going to do then at this point is stop this recording so that it's not too long for the rest of the class, because as you know, I'm very weary of very long recording and people are suffering to go through very long recording. But I stop here. But if you have any other questions just for me, or you would like to chat about anything, feel free to stay a little bit behind. But let me say for the rest of you, happy Easter. Enjoy it, rest well, because